These, just a few of the works bequeathed to the Ashmolean Museum, fragments of a lifelong love affair with the country and its art. A collection amassed by Professor Michael Sullivan, a unique mirror in the art of a century of change and conflict in China.
It's important because it's a really big collection of Chinese paintings, which has ended up probably as the largest and most significant in the West, or certainly outside China probably. And its real significance is that it was built up over 7 decades by one man who first went to China in 1939 and got to know artists, became interested in Chinese art and maintained that interest right up until his death last year at the age of 95.
It was the invasion by Japan that drew Sullivan to China, volunteering as an ambulance driver attached to the Red Cross. He witnessed at close hand some of the worst of Japan's atrocities, and he fell in love with Ko-An, the woman who was to become his soulmate for the next 60 years, sharing a love of Chinese art and culture.
So it's a really unique assemblage. And he was actually one of the first people to begin to collect 20th century Chinese art at all. The collection has some pieces from the 19th century, but it's overwhelmingly 20th century. And his interest in it that developed through the 40s and 50s culminated in a book in 1959 that actually kicked off the study of modern Chinese art as an independent field of Chinese art history.
Key to Sullivan's understanding of Chinese art were the friendships he made with artists inside China and overseas, many of the works acquired as gifts of the artists.
He never ever looked at paintings in terms of what they represented in social or political terms. He was always very interested in what artists were doing, what artists were feeling, how they were perhaps responding to their times, but above all, what they were producing. So he was very directly sympathetic to artworks and their creators. In the early years, most of his collection were things that artist friends had presented to him. And that actually is a characteristic of his collection, because more of it was donated to him by friends than was sought out for purchase by him and his wife.
At modern prices, the Sullivan collection is probably valued at around $16 million. Its worth now, though, is as a valuable addition to the Ashmolean's encyclopedic Chinese collection. The late Michael Sullivan's unique 20th century collection of Chinese art, though, gives the Ashmolean something to show for the Year of the Horse. Richard Bestek, CCTV at the Ashmolean Museum, Oxford.